Irashaimase. Hello and welcome to Fitaurus Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fitaurus. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu for this Saturday we have Assault Android Cactus, a twin-stick arena shooter from developer Witchbeam. So what kind of taste will this one have? Let's get cooking and find out. So we do have a few options for play modes here. There's the main campaign, which is a total of 25 stages to it. Infinity Drive, where you just go and play until you're finally defeated. Daily Drive, kind of your whole daily challenge kind of idea. And once you've completed the campaign, you have access to the boss rush. So for today, we'll be going and taking a look at the campaign. So the title is co-op, up to 4 players. So you can go and get some friends to go and play with. Once you've gone and completed the game, the roster includes up to 9 different androids that you can go and be. I'll start out by going and showing Cactus, the main character of the title itself, and then maybe we'll go and take a look at a couple of the other ones as well. So I am going to go and be using a co-op partner today, and she'll be using Licorice. So let's see what this one's all about. So here we're at the stage select. There are a total of 5 levels that you can go and move through. This is Zone 1, the cargo hold. And we'll start with Stage 1. So as I mentioned, Assault Android Cactus is a twin-stick shoot-'em-up. So you're going and controlling your character with the left stick and aiming with the right stick. Then you go and actually shoot, going and using the fire button, which on the PlayStation 4, the version that I'm playing today, is the either R1 or R2. In addition to that, each character goes and has a special weapon. Actually, the main weapons are different for all the characters as well. So for Cactus here, her special weapon is a flamethrower. When you go and change to the flamethrower, or your special weapon, there's a cooldown meter that appears below the character that goes and indicates how overheated the weapon is. So the more what you use the weapon, the higher the meter goes and fills up until it's all the way full, and then you're no longer able to go and use that weapon. Some characters' weapons, a single shot will go and do it, but like with Cactus, we can go and run around with the flamethrower for a little bit before we get to that point. So there are technically health bars for the characters. You can go and take 4 hits before, or rather 5 hits before you can go and before you will power down. But that's not the way that you actually game over. In this one, there's a battery meter at the top of the stage you can go and see, and if that goes and expires, that's when we go and get a game over. So just as long as you're going and defeating the stages fast enough, you shouldn't have to go and worry too much about that. As you're going and playing, the enemies are going and dropping several different items. There's these white little cores that they go and drop that allow you to go and power up your main weapon. There are also special power-ups that go and drop. They can go and do one of 3 things. They can go and do the shutdown, where it goes and disables all the enemies that are currently on stage. There's also the firepower, which goes and summons 2 gun droids to go and help you with additional firepower. And there's also accelerate, which speeds you up. And of course, the really important battery pickups. So you can power up your weapon a total of 3 levels. And the effects, of course, will go and be different depending on which character you go and actually take. So there are some differences between single player and co-op in this one in terms of the sheer number of enemies. If you're going and playing co-op, there'll of course go and be more enemies spawning in than if you're going and just playing single player, thus making the title more difficult overall. So overall, I've really gone and enjoyed my time with this title. I think it's a really fun twin stick shooter. And the characters, both the character design and the characters themselves, is fun. Although the enemy variety does leave a little bit to go and be desired. This is where we'll mostly go and be fighting the enemies you kind of see in the first zone. Will be repeating themselves like time and time again. The stages, since they're just relatively basic arenas, don't go and provide a whole lot to go and look at as well. That's not too big of an issue. So let's go and take a look at some of the other androids. Now I'll go and jump to Holly as we move on to Zone 3. Now the game is a score-based title, and it goes and provides you a grade for each stage based off of your performance, which is dependent on several factors. Your chain, total score, total number of kills, and the number of times that you've fallen in battle, died, let's see, for that particular stage zone. So everything all the way up from S plus down to a grade of D. The game also does go and have a fair bit of extra content to it, namely in the daily drive and the infinity drive that you can go and participate in. In addition to that, there are also options that you can go and unlock through credits that you earn in the stages. You don't earn much, so it takes a while to go and get the number of credits to go and unlock everything, but you have the ability to go and maybe disable the HUD, go and change a couple of the other options in the game, like being able to go and challenge co-op number of enemies with single player, or big head mode, which is always a fun one to go and have. So I've just noticed that I neglected to go and talk about the character that I'm going and using. So Holly's main weapon, unlike Cactus's assault rifle, is actually a homing shot. And her secondary is a giant cannonball which deals massive damage, but is slow, and you only get one shot before you have to go and cool down. Now, Licorice, her main shot is kind of a slower pistol, but as it goes and levels up, you go and get a faster rate of fire, and then it becomes twin shot. And her special is a Vorpal Blade, where she goes and essentially warps or dashes in on the enemies and deals heavy damage with a knife slash. There is quite a variety of playstyle to the characters themselves. So with one like Holly, where you're going and dealing with a homing shot for a main weapon, you can generally keep your distance and just run around avoiding the enemy shots, but your shots themselves don't do a whole lot of damage initially. She definitely does make up for that, though, with that secondary weapon cannonball. While not a bullet hell per se, some of the patterns you end up having to go and dodge with your character, and especially when you're going and fighting the enemies, it kind of feels that way. It would make you wish we had something like Enter the Gungeon's awesome dodge roll, but there is a brief dodge when you're going and switching between your primary weapon and your secondary weapon. But unfortunately, that only helps you out so much. I do like the way they go and look with those wings on when they go and have the accelerate power up, though. That'll go and bring us to the boss of Zone 1, which I will go and tackle with the Android Lemon. So one fun feature of Android Assault Cactus is each character goes and has a personality, and each time that you go and encounter a boss or a scene with dialogue, you'll go and get a different set of dialogue depending on which character you're playing as. So here we go and are at our first boss, Embryo, going and talking to Lemon. Lemon's weapons here. Her main weapon is a spread cannon that's weak, but at least you're going to go and cover a lot of ground with it. Her secondary is a powerful rocket launcher that can go and fire up to 4 rockets when fully cooled down. Just the kind of thing to go and make short work of a boss like Embryo here. Though, admittedly, Licorice's Vorpal Blade still goes and deals significantly more damage. You definitely don't want to go and be in front of the character when they're firing their Gatling cannon at you. So the boss fights, the boss's vitality is separated up into segments, and each time you wear down a boss's life, an entire segment, the attack pattern goes and changes, and you're rewarded with a battery. So just as long as you're going and getting through those segments fast enough, you shouldn't have to go and worry about your battery expiring and getting a game over throughout the course of the battle. And that's Embryo, the first boss of Assault Android Cactus. Well, that'll just about wrap up my look at Assault Android Cactus. It's definitely a fun twin-stick shooter, so if you have the opportunity to go and check this one out, I definitely recommend going and doing so. And it's even better if you can go and jump into it with a co-op partner or 3, as it does go up to 4 players local co-op. As always, if there's any other shoot-'em-ups that you'd like to go and suggest for my Shoot-'em-up Saturday, or any other games that you think I should take a look at, by all means, please leave those in the comments below. Thank you so much for coming out and joining me today for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.